Good afternoon. My name is Rita Montgomery, and we are sitting here in the inn at 213 17 Mile Drive in Pacific Grove, California. And I have the pleasure of having an interview with Dr. Hewlen, and present with me also is Rick Moss, Dr. Rick Moss, and Marvin Greeno. We have some questions. I have some questions of Dr. Hewlen. Please tell me, how do I pronounce your first name? Is it Iehaliaakala? Is that right?
It's Iehaliaakala. Iehaliaakala.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, I'm wanting to speak with you, especially about some of the ideas that you bring up in the book Zero Limits, written about you by Joe Vitale. And perhaps you could start out by explaining a little bit about this idea of 100% responsibility for oneself, and an entirely different idea of what the self is according to the system that you speak about.
Well, I think Shakespeare said it better than I. If you read Sonnet 146, Shakespeare says, "Poor soul." And so Shakespeare is saying the basic idea is that there are tragedies in our lives because we don't take a look at where the origin of the problem is, and it's always in self. So the tragedy being in life is that we're clueless and we repeat the same thing over and over and over again. And so when I work at, for example, when I worked at Hawaii State Hospital, working with people killed, raped, and murdered people, I had to ask the question, what is going on in me that I'm experiencing this? I'm experiencing a patient being violent, I'm experiencing staff going crazy, that sort of stuff. And so having to take 100% responsibility for that. What's going on in me that I'm creating this experience? And so I just do this cleaning, and the cleaning, the Ho'oponopono, is about going into the self, and specifically into the subconscious, and where the data is, and since everything is run by information, so that the information in my subconscious is dictating to me what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing. It's like in Shakespeare's Tempest, where Miranda says, "Oh, woe is me to see what I see." So Miranda has this insight that she's only seeing with data. And so it is with me, and so it is with all of you. And so I just work on the data in me that I experience as, quotes, the other person. So if I see you as being crazy and goofy, it's only my experience of you. If I erase that, you can't be that way. Not possible. And so that's what I mean to be 100% responsible. Being 100% responsible is taking responsibility for what is going on in you that you experience of whatever.
Could I ask you to clarify just a little point? You said, what is it in me that is experiencing this?
Yeah.
Could you clarify what you mean by experiencing? Do you mean perception?
No, I don't even mean that. Perception is really a end product or consequence of data playing in the subconscious. So again, coming back to Miranda is saying, I only can see what I see because the data is seeing what I see. So Miranda is really speaking what Shakespeare says, the mind is just a stage, and the data runs around on the stage, and the data is really what is going on. And so if the data is such that I'm experiencing suffering, or I'm experiencing people being goofy, then I have to be responsible for that. What's going on in me, and it's simply data playing, and more specifically memories replaying in the subconscious. And those can be erased. Mm-hmm. I think that is probably the most profound thing about this Ho'oponopono, is that you could erase data.
Could you give us an example of what it feels like or looks like for data to be erased, or is that not something that can be done in this kind of setting?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Could you give us an example of cleaning? I mean, how do we erase the data within our own minds? Is that something that could be discussed?
Of course. You can teach it. Trees can do it. Cars can do it. Anybody can do it. But the idea is the most fundamental question one needs to know is the question, who am I? And most people have no idea about who they are, and therefore are not allow the data in them to speak for them, as opposed to choosing to not have the data by erasing it. And so it's coming back to great sages like Jesus. Jesus said, love your enemies, and your only enemy is the memory replaying that you experience as a judgment, anger, resentment, hate, annoyance. And so the Ho'oponopono is about falling in love with the data and saying to the anger, I love it, saying to the memory that replays the anger, I love you, thank you for showing up, and giving you one more chance to free you. And so the Ho'oponopono is just simply saying, I love you, thank you.
When the data is erased, what is the self that remains? Is it a unique self that is God created? Is it individuated, or is it just pure self?
So let me come back at you. So I would ask you, who's talking? Who's asking the question?
Well, that would be the data, and because the other part of me would know the answer to that.
Yeah, but I'm saying since the data is talking, you can erase the data. So I'm saying to people, no matter if you have questions, you'll never be able to get at what is going on because the data is running you. And the idea is to get to see, we historically have come from this notion that you can decode things. So the Greeks come along and Greeks said, well, let's examine, let's analyze. But the Ho'oponopono is not about examining or analyzing. Ho'oponopono is about letting go of the data. So when the data is erased, you are what Buddha called in the space of void, or what Shakespeare calls you're in the state of blank. And it is when you are in that state of emptiness, void, and blank, then this inspiration comes through. What quantum physics called the phantom force of nothing.
So it's a state of nothingness?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, it's a state of nothingness that you're describing?
You have to really be careful because one has to be as precise as possible.
No thought? No words?
No, not no thought, no data plane. So what does that mean to have no data free? That means you're free. You're absolutely free when no data plays. And it's only at freedom, or I'll use another word, clarity. Clarity is defined as no data playing. No data meaning no memory replaying in the subconscious that one experiences. So let's say you get the mind back to zero. This is what Jesus called the stone or the foundation. And only on that foundation then can you build something. And then out of that foundation comes the inspiration. And so you are moved by perfect information as opposed to being using dead information. Because most of the time we're dead. Because we without realizing, we're stuck in old data and we're dead. And the Ho'oponopono is about releasing the death and the debt. So we basically have a mortgage on our souls, and we don't even know that. And we because we're not conscious of it or not even aware of it, we're stuck in it, and we're just going to suffer. And it doesn't have to be so. But you can erase the data.
There's so much of our operating in the world that depends upon language and thought. So when
only if you say so.
Okay.
So in other words, now we're stuck in that data because you have said something that's just a story, and the data is telling you what to say, and you're stuck. And that means if you're stuck, I'm stuck.
Okay.
So
let me try to phrase it another way.
You cannot phrase it another way. There's no other way you can phrase that.
If you're in zero, let me try it another time. Can you be in zero state and have language?
Right. You're going to be in zero state and have perfect, you're going to say whatever is perfect and right. And everything, in other words, let's say you're at zero, that means the whole world, the whole cosmos becomes zero. That means everything gets enlightened. So So he gets enlightened, the chair gets enlightened. But they don't get enlightened from me. They get enlightened directly from the source. And so then the language is perfect. And it's a language in which you're not even aware. It's what the artists call inspiration. Like all of a sudden, Van Gogh or these great artists just do it. Well, how did you do it? I don't know. I just did it. Yeah. That's the language of love and art. Truth, beauty beyond comprehension. Yeah.
If one takes responsibility for everything and everyone,
everything that's going on in that person, yes,
then the idea of free will, that each has a will to choose or a decision or to choose for themselves how they want to grow, change, heal,
yeah.
That would not be a point that you would recognize. Is that correct?
Well, it depends on, again, we have to be really precise, so I'm going to come back and ask you.
Please.
So when you say free will, what does that mean?
To me, it means the right to choose against what is natural, the right to hold on to one's programming, the right to separate oneself in one mind from source.
See, what happens is that at any given moment, 11 million bits of information is playing, for which you are unconscious of.
Yes.
So it's driving you. So you don't have free will, but you have choice. The choice is, like Shakespeare is saying, to be or not to be free of the data. Mm-hmm. You have that choice, but the data is going to run you. The only question is, what data is going to run you? Is it going to be inspiration, or is it going to be memory, which is dead stuff? Mm-hmm. So that's the choice, but one doesn't have free will.
Can I approach the question differently, because it's not...
Yeah.
Let's talk about the people at Hawaii State Hospital.
Yeah.
By changing yourself, you changed them because they are part of yourself. Is the language correct?
Well, I think what happens is like with you. Before I came here, I got the address, so I did the cleaning on the address. I did the cleaning on this camera and on your camera, because I don't know what he took before, and that will interfere with what's going on now. And so I'm taking 100% responsibility, because peace begins with me. So if I show up and I'm not peaceful, you can't be peaceful yourself. And so I'm only here because only for one purpose, and that is to make amends for whatever.
For whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know what that whatever is consciously, but there are parts of me that know what that is, and so my job is just to begin being 100% responsible by doing the cleaning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't know what's getting cleaned up. I'm clueless.
I get the impression that you make many of your decisions, your actions, based upon petitioning divinity to make a choice as to act in one way or to act in another way. Is that right?
Again, we're going to have to be really precise now.
Okay.
I do the cleaning. That's my job, to get back to zero. I want to be free.
Okay.
That's my only purpose for being on this planet is I got garbage, and which is mortgaged on my soul, and I want to let go of the garbage so I can be free. And so at freedom, the information comes from the source.
Yes.
But I won't even know it. I can't say, oh, I got the information. That's not my job. My job is just to keep cleaning nonstop and let it unfold however it's going to unfold, because 11 million inspirations coming in, I'm not even aware of that.
So what is cleaning like? Can you describe what your cleaning process is?
Yeah, cleaning is only saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me for whatever data is going on in me that I need to make amends for. Yeah.
And so if someone calls you up, like me, and says, would you come and speak with us?
Yeah.
So then what do you do?
I clean.
And then what happens?
Well, if I clean enough, then we go, oh, okay, it's okay to do it, and I do it.
Oh, okay.
If I clean and I don't get to do it, I won't do it. And there are many interviewers on which I have not done because I don't get to do it, and I'm not making that decision. It's the intimation in me that's making the decision,
And
not me.
how do you know that?
I don't know that.
No, I mean, how do you know to come?
I don't know that. I just do it. And then it says go, and then I tell him it's okay. But I don't, it isn't like a process where you go, oh, I got it. It's something that has to be worked on and cleaned on, and then like a rose, it just begins to unfold, and at some point, because I've been doing this for, I don't know, almost 3 decades, I have it.
Sorry.
Can I ask a question
please,
to that
yeah.
point? Do you believe it's possible? Some people believe they can ask a question and get a yes or no answer. There's psychokinesiology, there's the use of pendulums, things of that nature that allow one to perceive that they're receiving an answer. Do you believe that that's possible?
Well, but I want to come back at you again.
Please.
For me, the reason I'm here is only for the purpose of cleaning. Okay, I'm clear about that. And so, the purpose of the cleaning is to free up the data. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about. If I were to use a pendulum, I would make sure that I would be data free, and then I would ask. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the pendulum, if you're not at zero, you'll get funny answers. Yeah.
Based upon your own scripts and your ideas.
I like that, but I would be more precise, based on memories, data in a computer bank. Yeah. Yeah.
And so how would you suggest that people begin the enterprise of cleaning?
I don't even do that. I just do the cleaning myself, and if people want to learn it, they show up. Yeah, like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, I
for example, in years ago, I had somebody say to me, "Convince me that I should take this class," and I said to him, "We don't do any marketing. I don't do any of that sort of stuff. I mean, it's a decision."
I've been doing marketing for you up and down the coast.
I see.
Just because I knew it was such a wonderful opportunity for people to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what the cleaning process is like on an experiential level.
Well, again, you have data. Data I may experience the data as I don't like you. Okay, let's say that data says in my mind I'm going, oh my God, and I have to put up with this bullshit stuff.
Right.
Blah, and I go, oh, I get to clean with that.
Right.
What's going on in me?
Right.
And I didn't know I had it.
Right.
So I can say to that data in me, I love you. Thank you for giving me one more chance to let you go so that I can be free. Right. So the Ho'oponopono is about saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then the I'm sorry, please forgive me can be said in a different way. I love you, thank you, blueberries, M&Ms, the whole kit and caboodle. Yeah. But the notion is that it's my responsibility, totally. So it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're talking to not the person, but to
talking to myself.
Yourself.
Yeah. Specifically, I'm talking to this inner child in me who is suffering because I'm holding on. So the Ho'oponopono is, you're asking questions, but it's an engagement process. Like you say, you're trying to wrap yourself around it. The Ho'oponopono is about letting go.
Right.
It's just let go, boom, the data goes, and all of a sudden you get inspiration to do something it never came out for you to do.
Right.
Yeah.
In the introduction to Zero Limits, Joe Vitale talks about programs that go back to the beginning of existence.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little more about that?
Yeah. When coming back again to Shakespeare, and when we were initially created at the beginning, we were nothing. Blank, no data, perfect in every way. didn't have to think, didn't have to make money, didn't have to do any of this sort of stuff. So no data playing. And then out of that no data, which is what Buddha called void, up comes this, what Buddha called enlightenment, which is the source of the light. And then that source of the light decided, and I don't know why and how come, and I'm not interested, decided to create each one of us. And created each one of us infinitely zero. So that's how we began. And so what does it mean to be infinitely zero? It means we experience heaven on earth, nirvana, art, beauty, love, until something came along, and it brought darkness. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you in that state of bliss, nirvana?
If I was in that state, I would not be here sitting with you guys. I'm here because I have stuff to let go.
But clearly you've had a considerable degree of success based upon your having emptied a psychiatric hospital.
I don't know what that means, success.
Assisted in a healing for people.
No, I didn't assist. I only took care of me. I'm responsible. I wasn't interested in them. They just came along in my life and said, "Hello, you got stuff you should let go." I said, "Oh, okay." So I didn't do it for them.
They're just mirrors then to yourself?
More importantly, more specifically, more precisely, that we had shared memories.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this notion about healing people is bullshit stuff. I didn't do that. I'm only here to clean up what was going on in me that kept him goofy, that kept him stuck in the hospital. That's what I came. I came along to do that, to do it on me, not them. And if they benefit, okay, but that wasn't my orientation. That wasn't my focus. My focus was to be free. Yeah.
So anyone who comes in front of you in any way,
Or before,
you have relationship with that person on some
you
level.
have shared data.
And do you feel a sense of compassion towards the people that you...
You're funny. What does that mean, compassion?
A heartfelt connection?
You want me to be deadly honest with you?
Yes, please.
It's bullshit stuff. It's like when you're free at zero, you have nothing. You're free. You're not even in love. You're not having any of this stuff you hear, the garbage that you hear. You're nothing. That's what Jesus said. Jesus said, listen, seek ye first the kingdom, which is nothingness, and you shall see God. That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in seeing the God in you guys.
Okay.
That I'm not interested in. So if I see the God in you, then I'm fine. See, it's the data. If I can let go of the data, which is the mortgage on my soul, I get back to zero, then I'm going to see what Jesus said, I'm going to see God.
And nothing but.
Yeah, nothing but. And because you guys were already perfect, it was the imperfection of the data in me, not in you. So this notion about saving or clearing out the hospital is funny. The whole universe laughs. That universe is not interested in saving anybody. The universe is interested in one being 100% responsible. Then the universe will sing, Hallelujah.
But did that event happen then? That was
I'm sorry?
The event that's described in the book about you working in the psychiatric hospital.
What about it?
Did it happen?
What happened?
Did it so happen that you did cleaning on yourself and that those people were healed and moved on?
Let me be really more precise. It's very important to be precise. When I showed up at the hospital, it isn't a job I wanted to do.
Right.
But I had a friend there who said, we need some help. And I said, well, I can do it. Just give me the names of the people. I can do it from wherever. I don't have to be there. Well, we can't do it because it's confidential. So I said, okay. And maybe after a year or two, I finally relinquished and went. And so when I showed up, there all the seclusion rooms were used, and there were people, several people daily in restraint, physical, that sort of restraint. There was really verbal and physical violence in the world. So I just did my cleaning. What was going on in me that I'm experiencing? Like the toilets flushing with nobody on them, a shower turning on with nobody, you know. And so I just began the cleaning, and months later, without making an effort, whereas it would take several years to turn around time for people to go home, they were going home. Maybe after what, I was there about 4 years. Maybe the turnaround time was 3 or 4 months. And so it's essentially, that's what I did, just work on myself. Yeah. So, whereas they didn't have any kind of work program, we started doing things like making cookies. Started out, that was a wonderful project. Can you imagine? Supposedly all these crazy people making cookies, you know? But making cookies, polishing shoes, washing cars, things that nobody ever thought of doing. And I didn't plan it. It just did it. I didn't go, well, let's see whether we can do something, make a new job. It didn't happen that way.
So what? I'm sorry.
And then no one could leave this unit without a physician's signature. But maybe, I don't know, a year or two down the road, we were able to have a jogging program, tennis program. Yeah. But I didn't do anything. I just was clean on myself and just kind of watch and then be awed by what God can do. Huh? Oh, wow. I should do more cleaning, huh? Instead of being annoyed and irritable. Yeah. Certain people would end up certain staff would come on the ward and the ward would go crazy. I would notice that, so I would clean with that. As opposed to, I notice when Mrs. What's-Her-Name comes, everybody goes crazy. Oh, what's going on in me when Mrs. What's-Her-Name shows up? And so what's in that?
Mm.
Yeah.
And does this go to past lives, or do you not deal with past lives?
I don't deal with that sort of stuff. I just deal with memories. What's going on in me that I'm experiencing this? Yeah. Now, there may be those things, that'll come up, but I'm more interested in just targeting what's going on in me data-wise that I'm experiencing you. So if I'm experiencing you, however, 11 million of which I'm not even aware of that I'm experiencing you, I'm willing to do the cleaning because I'm clueless. Absolutely clueless. Yeah.
Have you, Dr. Hewlin, had the experience of setting your intention to do cleaning on a situation? Say someone who was, within yourself, someone came in front of you who was terminally ill, and you did some cleaning within yourself, but the person still died. Have you had the experience?
I don't know what you're talking about. This notion about intention, again, is a concept that's just database. Nobody has intentions. This notion, the people who make a lot of money don't intend to make a lot of money. They just do because there's some data in them that creates it. But to claim that, say how good I am, but you look at the financial situation. The people who are supposedly good wrote all these books. Well, we're finding out they were otherwise. So I don't, the notion of intention is foreign to me. I don't know what that means.
Okay, maybe I'll use a different word then. Have you been in a circumstance?
All the time.
Where someone makes
all the time.
And so...
All the time. I just came back from Japan. I had this woman come up to me, and little lady, and beautiful lady. She said I had been diagnosed as having terminal cancer. I'm going to be dead in 3 months. And so I just did a cleaning. She came up, she looked at me, she hugged me. As I hugged her, I did the cleaning. But listen, I'm not God.
Sure.
But I'm not God. I'm not here to save anybody. That's the divinity's job, not mine. Mm-hmm. My job is to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to act as God to say, well, if I clean, I can save you. I don't do that.
Can you tell us more specifically what you did within yourself when that woman with cancer showed up?
Yeah.
What did you clean within yourself?
Yeah, so I said, as I was hugging her, I said to the divinity, thank you for giving me this opportunity for this lady to come up so that I can look at myself. What's going on in me that I would like to make amends for? And so I said to the divinity, I'm sorry for whatever's going on in me, and there are specific cleaning tools I use that are unique to me. But basically, I'm asking divinity, I'm sorry, please forgive me for whatever's going on in me, that this woman should show up in my life, experiencing her saying to me, I've been diagnosed. Now, one of the things I had to work on, because I just had to work on this whole judgment about somebody saying that somebody's going to die in 3 months. Mm-hmm. I had to work on that one. Yes. And again, people can't help. If a doctor says, you only got 3 months to live, he can't help it. That's the data in him. Mm-hmm. So now the question is, at some point, who's going to start deleting the data? But it's so easy,
Can we delete all the data?
I'm sorry?
Can we delete all the data?
That's the divinity's job, not mine. My job is to appeal, divinity's job is to erase, so I can't say to divinity. Like, occasionally I say, come on, hurry up.
Did Buddha delete all the data as far as you can tell?
You'll have to talk to Buddha.
So, when you think of enlightened masters on the planet, you don't necessarily think of them with data deleted then, or do you?
No. I'm more interested, like in somebody else. I'm not interested whether Shakespeare is a risen master. I'm more interested in some insights that I could use to get some of these ideas across. For example, Shakespeare's, I think the notion that poor soul, how does that, poor soul, these rebel powers that thee array. So Shakespeare's already said, hello, the sin, or the error is in the soul. So I go, oh, yeah, that's sure. It's not out there someplace. It's a rebel power, is what Shakespeare called for, be moan, grievances forgone. It's played before, it's going to play again. The tragedy is we don't know that. That's the tragedy. We don't know that the data runs us. That's the tragedy. And so we're going to repeat it over and over.
Have you reached a point in your own evolution where you can see where the data runs you and where you are clear?
Sometimes, but rarely. I'm more interested in keeping the cleaning going nonstop. I don't go that route. Because I'm absolutely clear in my soul that the divinity has given me one more chance to make amends for whatever is going on in me. So I'm clear that my only purpose for existence is to free myself.
Do you have an experience at times? Why are you laughing? Do you have an experience at times of feeling like you're in the groove, like you're in perfect alignment? Like are there moments where...
I never look for that. But there are times in which I experience like absolute love for my friend here. That I can experience. I have children, grandchildren, which I do the cleaning because I want to make sure that I'm not attached to them in any way, so that they can get the information directly from the divinity, not from me. So I'm just cut all the time, and occasionally When I get a call from my children, I had two daughters, 30 plus, I should feel love for them. Yeah.
When you say cut, are you talking about cutting out the cords?
Yeah, I'm talking about erasing memories in me that I experienced them as quotes, judging them, how come they don't do this way, they don't do that, and all that. Yeah. And they're beautiful, my children are. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. But my responsibility for them is to set them free from any grasp that I have on them, which is memory, like trying to grab them.
Would that include loving memories?
A memory is a memory.
So
it's a dead memory. There's no such thing as a good memory.
So to set them free from memories would be not to remember any of the past that you've ever had together?
Or to at some point to see them as gods.
Now you say or.
Yeah.
They're mutually exclusive.
Oh, of course, because if I have, and you know, I'm going to be cleaning with them till the day I die. It's just the way it is. I mean, they're there, I experience them, and I want to make sure I'm just cutting these ties so that they get the information directly from the divinity, not from me. Mm-hmm. So, am I sure? I'm never sure. I don't know that well. I just keep cleaning and cleaning.
Yeah. You speak, or maybe it's Joe that references the experience of wonder and the importance of the experience of wonder. Could you talk a little more about that?
I'm more interested in the experience of freedom.
More than wonder.
Yeah. It's interesting because that question brings up, there was a chap, they call himself chap,
yes,
in Australia, who I gave a lecture, and he kept saying, now wait a minute, you mean you don't want us to be curious? That's his comeback. I said, well, to be at zero, you can be in awe, but if you want to take curiosity instead of awe, be my guest. Yeah. It's hard to put things down only because I'm never certain if I'm inspired or not, and
yes.
And to be very honest, I don't care. I'm just doing the cleaning, just non-stop. Yeah. So I don't have any intentions to. For example, people will call me. I used to do these things. I don't do anymore. There's a young man in Hawaii who is having a very difficult quote. His mother is saying he's having a difficult time. People don't like him. He's not doing well at school, and so as I'm reading the email, I'm doing the cleaning. What's going on in me? This is showing up. And then she asked how to help him, and I had to remind her, you're not helping him. It's only about you. What's going on in you that you're experiencing that way? And
do you take individual clients?
I used to, maybe 20 years ago, but I don't do that anymore. Yeah. Better that they should learn how to do it on their own, huh? Put us out of business so we can be vacationing here in Monterey instead of trading around the world. Yeah.
I'm curious, what in you is creating your commitment to such a rigorous teaching schedule?
Somebody asked me that, but they asked me in a different way. This is the way they asked me. They asked me, how did you come around to doing this? And I said, I don't know. Life is a mystery, and I just happen to be here in this moment, and there are all the forces, and I have no idea how these forces brought me here. But I'm clear though, I'm here to clean with you chair, the board, this guy, the camera, that thing is going to get on the internet, going to get on shows, and the shows are all generated by oil. You know that, right? You have a cell phone?
Yes.
You know what the power of that cell phone is? Oil. without the oil, that you guys wouldn't have any, couldn't generate a cell phone message. It all goes back. So I'm cleaning with that. The rape of Mother Earth.
I know.
We're raping Mother Earth, but we can't help it. So I have to remind myself, nobody can help it. Everybody's stuck in programs, and so somebody's got to get to the cleaning, and I'm willing to do it. Marvin's willing to do it. More and more people around the world are willing to do it.
You have, I guess the answer I was looking to that last question is, I had in mind the possibility that you had the hope that many people would be doing this work, and that we might change
if nobody showed up, I would do it anyway.
But would it not be your hope? Or maybe you don't hope? That there would be
don't you
a
think
movement?
Don't you think it's a form of manipulation?
I've thought that.
Well, I can erase that then. if you're not, I can work on that. I want to get to zero, so that the people who are divinely correct to come will come.
Right.
That's mine. I'm not here to promote anything. I'm not. At least I'm not intending to do it. I'm not conscious I'm doing it. I may be, but I think it's a disservice to people to promote something and then have them come when for them divinely it's not correct to be wherever they end up being, you know.
In other words, promotion speaks to their memories,
Yeah,
and stimulates their memories.
yeah.
But can promotion also speak to them and stir them to want to erase their memories?
If I clean, let's say I clean, and there are 8 billion people out there. If I clean and I get myself back to zero, even for an instant, everybody will get back to zero. Then it's the divine in them that will choose to do it or not to do it. Not some promotion on my part, or some manipulation on my part. Yeah.
And the book that Joe wrote about you or with you,
Yeah.
is that a manipulation? Is that, how do you see the book?
Well, it depends on what page you're on. Yeah, depends on what page you're on. Depends
Overall,
on
how do you feel about the book?
Well, but I cleaned before, so like with you, he had asked me months and months and months if I would do a book with him, and I did the cleaning. I heard no, just like with you guys, and at some point I heard yes, and so I did it. Now, I'm responsible for every point and every letter in the book, so there are people who will ask me certain things, and having not read all of the book myself, yeah, so, but my own sense, he's a nice guy, and so he shows up for me to clean, and I clean, and I heard do it, and so.